Hello everyone and welcome to Tiresome. Today is just going to be a little catch up on, well, what I've been doing to the Scimitar. For those of you who've been watching the channel for a while now, you will notice a lack of me uploading anything. But fear not, I've not been sitting on my arse doing nothing. The car has been being worked on. And the first thing that some of you may know, or notice, is that if I can get the light focused, it's actually on the ground. Oh, yay! Unfortunately, because it is on the ground, I can't show you, well, what we were doing under it. I was thinking about doing footage on it and things like that, but just the way that it works, the way that we were going to shoot it, it would have just looked naff. So basically, all we did was we sorted out all the gearbox wiring and everything like that. Even got the overdrive wired in, or at least the underside of the car wired in. There's now a switch inside the car, which I'll show you in a min. Let me just rotate that. Lovely. Yeah, so there is now a switch inside the car, which is great, but I just need to connect the wires up that side and find a live connection that's going to come off the ignition, so only when the car's turned on. I mean, it's a fairly easy job to do, to be honest. For now, let's just go through, you know, what we've been doing. So, as well as that wiring underneath the car, getting that sorted, you may remember in the last episode that it had a noise, and it seemed to be the faster we were going, the louder this grinding noise got. And it wasn't good. It could have been a point where, you know, it's a case of, shit, we need to get the car back up, drop the box even, and get a professional to look at it, which could be, well, thousands of pounds to get someone to rebuild the gearbox properly if it was faulty. Luckily, we noticed, or should I say father noticed, when the car was up, the bell housing, the clearance to the cross member, or the cross member that bolts under it, had such a small clearance you couldn't have even fitted a washer in there. So we're talking less than a couple of millimeters. And of course, as the car moves and rotates and there's stresses on the chassis as you accelerate, and the engine moves on the gearbox mounts, which of course includes the gearbox, it was actually making contact. And it was more like it sounded like a grinding noise, but I guess it was a very, very fast rattle. So all we did is take that cross member off, put a couple of washers on all 4 bolts, bolt it back up again so there's a bit more clearance. Now we're talking about a centimetre. It's not really not going to make any difference at all to the car, but what it will do is, and what it has done, because we have test driven the car just around the block, is gotten rid of those noises. Another thing, now knowing that we had gotten rid of that noise, that the headlights are working, sorry, the headlights work. They look stock, but I've put LED lamps in them. Now, there's a lot of questions up in the air about the legalities of that. You have to have a sealed LED unit, like the whole headlamp has to be a sealed LED unit for it to be legal, because of the way that it reflects. If you just put LED lamps inside a normal, like, car lamp, or lamp holder, then it's going to reflect differently and you're just going to get a massive flood of light and blind everyone else on the road. These ones, however, that I purchased had the diodes in the exact same layout as the OEM lights, as a H4 bulb. So that means that, well, it was a H4 or H2 actually, I can't remember, but I bought the correct ones, and that means that it actually utilises the mirrors and reflectors inside the actual lamps, and that means that it doesn't do that, and that it should hopefully comply with, well, not blinding anyone on the road. The only reason I did that actually is because, well, these cars came with sealed bulbs or sealed lamps originally. It's quite a common upgrade to change them to halogen lamps, you know, like we know, where you can replace the bulbs and such, because, well, they're more powerful. And, well, you can change the bulbs. You don't have to change the whole headlamp every time you want to just change a bulb. So that's a common upgrade. However, whoever did it to this car originally didn't put a relay on the switch. So that meant that it was, yeah, sure, much more powerful, but it was drawing much more current and melting switches constantly. To counteract that, I did put a relay in it. But even then, the OEM wiring was still getting really hot. So let's just go for LED lamps. I've done that. I haven't actually left them on for long enough and of course driven it to find out if that has actually solved that heating problem with the wires, but I should assume so, because as everyone in the world knows, LED lights are far more efficient and use like 10% of what a halogen bulb would. So on paper it should have fixed that issue, not blind anyone on the road, and cost minimal to me. I mean, it was about maybe 40 quid for all the lamps, so I mean that's cheaper than 200 quid, well, because of course this car's got 4 headlights on the front, so it's times 2, so it'd be 400 quid for sealed gel. And the thing is, those new LED ones, I know a lot of people have used them, and look, if you have some on your car, that's up to you, man. I'm sure you enjoy them, and well, they'll be better than mine, that's for sure. But I just don't like the aesthetic of them. Why can't they get some that just look like normal headlamps, but they've always got these bloody angel eyes or funny LED bits on them, and they look super modern, which on the front of like a Harley or something like that, or even a Land Rover, looks pretty cool. But on a Scimitar that's got these like 70s styling, 60s, 70s styling, it just, to me, looks naff. So I went for this option. You know what, if I get pulled over or the MOT tester throws the book at me, then I'm obviously going to have to switch back to halogens, and you know what, slap on the wrist, I'll take that. But as far as I'm concerned, they're not going to hurt anyone, and they'll, well, keep the car on the road, which is the aim of the game, right? Under the hood, which I shan't be opening, but you must trust me, that I do have a Revotech fan, electric fan, which has the optional switch there, as you can see, off, auto and on. So that means that when the car is hot and I'm starting it, I can actually turn the fan off, just so that the volts are on the starter, and then I can flip it back to auto or on. It also means if the thermostat goes and the switch doesn't kick in, then I can manually turn it on there as well. The switch on the right there is going to be for the for the overdrive. I got one with a little LED on it because the actual light that would have been up there isn't, because it didn't have one from the factory. The middle one is indeed where the choke cable will be going. I know, interesting stuff. Optional cobwebs as well in the steering wheel. Not sure if they're coming out all right. And of course, there is the centre console, which I need to pop back together. It's actually not that bad to do. And of course, the old gear stick there, which is in its place and working absolutely fine. Woo! After doing all of that, there is one other piece of the puzzle that has been in the background, and something that I hate, that is paperwork. This car is 1978, which means that it is a historic vehicle as far as the government are concerned, and it no longer needs to be taxed or MOT'd. Brilliant, top notch, save some money on that. But I've been putting off the paperwork. I don't know why. As soon as it comes to governmental paperwork, I'm just, no, I don't want to do that. But I have done it now. The paperwork's off. They said it can take 2 months to come back, but when it does, this car will be tax and MOT exempt. Even though it is going to be MOT exempt, I am going to be putting it through an MOT in the early stages, because of course it's been off the road for so long, and I've done so much work on this car that, you know, I'm not a professional mechanic. I, to a varying degree, know what I'm doing and have tested it as I've gone. No leaks, the pressure's all right, it gets up to temperature, blah blah blah, whatever it might be. But there are things that I would like a professional looking over, just to make sure the car is safe, because I will be using it as my daily driver in the future. Now, there is another thing as well, which comes to legalities with regards to if I were to have a brake failure, for instance, or even just have a normal, you know, I crash into someone because I wasn't looking, or being stupid, or whatever it might be, then they could say, wait there, this car wasn't MOT'd, you haven't been looking after it properly, and that means you get a fine of this or that. Yet again, this is up in dispute. There have been cases of it happening, and there have been cases disputing that, saying, well no, it's MOT exempt, so it doesn't matter if it wasn't road legal, because it doesn't need to go through the tests. But as far as I'm concerned, I want the car to be, well, it's already got to be much less safe than other vehicles on the road because of the nature of the car. So I would like to make sure that it's going to be as safe as possible before putting it on the road. You may notice as well, when I showed off the bottom there, it looks like, in fact I don't think you can see it, I'll tell you what, I'll go around to the other side, might be easier to show you there. Oh, the lighting, the sun is out, which is great, but unfortunately not really working that much, is it? But there you go, the wheels are black. They're not new wheels, I do have new wheels to go on it, I probably said that before, but this is just the original steel wheels that I have well, just sanded down very briefly, and just put some specific wheel like enamel paint on, just to tart it up, because even though it's going to be MOT exempt and everything like that, I don't want the police officers to, well, be driving around and go, that is a piece of crap, we're pulling that over right away. I want them to think, or at least have some sort of confidence in, no, it looks like he's trying somewhere. And of course, in the long run, it's going to have much better wheels on it, new paint and everything like that, so it will look less of a dog as time goes on. But for right now, that was just yet again a quick fix, just to get it back on the road and looking less, well, nefarious. Along with those wheels, I mean, some of you may have noticed in previous videos, wheel nuts of all different shapes and sizes. They were all 1/2 inch UNF for the car, but they were all sporadic. I've actually used just some new wheel nuts. I know, not really worth mentioning, but here we are. The indicators, actually, as we speak, still are a bit iffy, just because it's been sat so long, not used, and it's got an open contact sort of system on the switch, so when you move it up, literally two flaps of metal make contact, and it starts that relay flashing that whichever side is in operation. So that's all gummed up, so I need to go in there, take all that apart. These are little intricate things, to be honest, that I probably won't film, because it's just going to be me swearing, worrying more about the camera location than the actual job at hand. The washer jets function, but one of them's blocked, so that'll just be a pipe cleaner, maybe a pin or something, you know, just to free it off. Yet again, quick job. Windscreen wipers not working at all, but yet again, that's on the same stalk system as the indicators, so it's probably suffering from the same issue. So a bit of voltmeter action there, but apart from that, the car is actually road legal and ready to go. I know, it's got new tyres and everything. It's mental. It needs a good clean. It needs a good clean. I need to put the dashboard back together because it's still got switches hanging out of it. What else do I need to do? Oh yes, the first video you'll see after this one is indeed the choke installation. I've got a nice choke cable to put on it. I know. I'm really spoiling myself here. But hey, stay tuned for that one. This has literally just been a quick update video, just so you guys know that we are going to be starting to make videos on this again, and we will be hopefully getting some footage of it out in the wild soon. Ready enough for spring and summer next year, where hopefully I'll see some of you guys at some car shows, and you can tell me all the things I've done wrong and how I'm going to die imminently. But hey, that's all part of the fun, eh? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in a bit.